What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and this right here is the 2021 Honda CB500X. It's a pretty cool, lightweight and nimble kind of middleweight adventure bike, and in this video I'm going to take it for a ride, give you all my thoughts, and do a full review on the bike. This is going to be mainly an on-road review though. Honda was nice enough to give us this bike for a couple months actually, so we're going to be taking it on a really cool adventure series where we go explore some Colorado ghost towns. So we're going to start that next week, so if you want to see this on the dirt, stay tuned, but for now let's see how it rides on the road. This definitely has the adventure bike look, especially because it kind of has this beak nose here, and it's a smaller beak nose than a lot of the bigger adventure bikes, but cool to see you still get that bird style, I guess, that all the adventure bikes are going with. LED headlight up front, so good illumination at night if you're going to be out, you know, on the trails when it starts to get dark. Big windscreen up front, and it is adjustable, nice and tall, so it keeps you in a nice pocket of wind. Does a really good job keeping the wind off your chest and most of the wind off your head too. I was really in a nice bubble. It is adjustable, but not on the fly. You do have to remove some bolts to move it around, but if you want to play with that, you can. Looking behind the windscreen right here, you can see this little rally bar right here, which is really cool. So this is kind of a Dakar inspired GPS mount or GoPro mount, whatever you want to use it for. You can mount accessories there, and it looks straight out of Dakar. Right here we'll power the dash on. Pretty basic LCD unit, but you've got some color popping in here for the top of the RPM range. All your basic info that you would need is right there. So yeah, pretty cool adventure bike look, especially with these crash bars on the side. These are an additional option. They are not standard on this bike. Same thing with the side cases. But all these additional accessories just make this look like, you know, a bigger bike than it is. It kind of makes it look like a full-fledged adventure bike. But this package is much more nimble and much easier to control. Also, the red frame is pretty cool. I really like that candy red color. I don't know what they call that, but really dig the look of that right there. I wish that was kind of carried through the bike more, especially here on the crash bars. And lastly, take a look at these tires right here. These are super beefy. These are Bridgestone Battle Axe AX41R tires. This is not what comes stock on this, but Honda knew we were going to be taking this off-road in the dirt and going to find some ghost towns, so they put a beefier tire on there. The tire completes the look of the bike a lot of times, and that's totally the case here. The road-going tires that come on this bike stock, they're good, and you know, they'll get you down the road, they'll take you on the dirt if you want to, but these tires right here just make it look like an absolute badass machine that's ready to go tackle any trail. All right, let's take a look at what powers the CB500X. It's right here, a 471cc parallel twin, dual overhead cam, liquid cooled, fuel injected. This is a really light, narrow engine, and it makes good power. It's not gonna blow your socks off in terms of acceleration. Definitely takes some time to get up to speed, but it's a really easy, manageable package, both on the road and for taking off into the dirt. A lot of times if you're just starting out in dirt riding, something like an Africa Twin would be way too much power, but this feels really manageable. It's mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. It has a slipper clutch as well, so the clutch pull is extremely light and extremely easy, which feels pretty good on a bike like this. And as far as power goes, Honda doesn't put out an exact spec, but according to published reports, this makes about 50 horsepower and 31 to 32 foot-pounds of torque. Now in terms of power, I'm in second gear, 6,000 RPM. Hit the rev limiter a little bit. It doesn't take off like crazy, but it's not a sport bike, so it doesn't really need to. Now this does have a 6-speed transmission, so riding on the highway is really easy with it. Very, very quiet, classic Honda, but I'm sure you could throw a pipe on this and it wouldn't sound too bad, being that it's a parallel twin. All right, let's take a look at suspension on the CB500X. Up front, we have a 41mm standard fork with 5.9 inches of travel. They are adjustable for preload. And then around back, we have a rear shock with 5.3 inches of travel, and you have adjustable preload there as well. So, you know, not a ton of adjustability in the suspension. All you're working with is preload, but this is a budget adventure bike, so it's kind of to be expected. If it had really crazy nice adjustable suspension, you'd be paying for that. So there's definitely a place for a more affordable suspension components on a bike like this. Just on this little bit here, suspension feels really good. It's soaking up a lot of the bumps and stuff, but I haven't tested that too much. Like I said, next week we're going to be getting this out on the dirt lots more. Now, the first thing I noticed when I hopped on this bike is how it felt to ride and kind of the weight distribution. It's not a super heavy bike, but it's tall, and you can feel that the weight is up top. I mean, it likes the corner. It's got nice wide taper bars, so it really likes to be pushed in and stay leaned over, and it stays there because you've got so much weight kind of at the top, so it likes to fall over, and it feels really good. And that just gives you a lot of confidence, you know, if you're a new rider or new to adventure riding. It just feels very manageable and very lightweight. It looks bigger than it is. But even doing slow speed turns like this, like, man, that loves the corner. It just wants to dip in. I wish the roads were a little sharper around here. All right, let's look at the brakes real quick. Up front, you have a 310 millimeter disc. Unfortunately, it's only a single-sided disc. At the rear, you have a 240 millimeter disc, and ABS is standard on this bike. It used to be an option, but new for 2021, all of the CB500Xs come standard with ABS at both the front and the rear wheels, which is good to see. Do I wish the braking power was a little bit better? Yes. I think I would always want dual-sided discs up front and really good stopping power, but you know, for a bike that has a small engine like this, a 471cc parallel twin, you really don't need that much better brakes, and these definitely bring the bike down to a stop pretty well. All right, usually when I do a bike review, I like to actually get on the bike and just show you kind of the riding position and how I fit on the thing. I'm 5'10" for reference, and this is a pretty comfortable bike. Like I said, it's really narrow. The seat height is pretty low for an adventure bike, 32.8 inches, which, you know, doesn't sound super low, but for an adventure bike, it is. 4.7 gallon fuel capacity, and for a small motor like this, that's definitely going to be pretty efficient and get you lots of range. 434 pounds is the wet weight on this, all fueled up and ready to go. This one's probably just a little bit heavier because of the crash bars and the side cases that are on it. Tires might also be a little bit heavier as well. But yeah, just feels like a small adventure bike. I'm a really small guy. Most adventure bikes intimidate me, and you know, something like this that's just a lot smaller and manageable for a guy like me who doesn't spend a whole lot of time riding on the dirt is a really appealing package. Also, while I'm here, you can take a look at the ground clearance below the bike. That's 7.1 inches from the ground to the lowest point on the bike. And yeah, not too bad. You know, I don't think there's a ton of people that are gonna do too much extreme riding with this. It's more of your gravel road explorer kind of thing. But you know, if you wanted to get a little crazy with it, the only thing really hanging pretty low is the exhaust. So throw a skid plate on it, you should be good to go. And Case and I are actually going to be taking this very bike down to the Revzilla Get On ADV Fest in the Black Hills in South Dakota. So if you want to see this up close and personal, definitely check it out, and we can actually get you in for free because Revzilla was kind enough to give away 2 free tickets to you guys, so you can come on and have a great time at the ADV Fest. There's going to be demo bikes, lots of off-road riding, industry experts, lots of cool people there. It's going to be a blast and a really cool camping trip. So if you are interested in winning a free ticket to this event, check the description. There's a link to another video where we showed you exactly how you can enter. So check it out and come on down to the ADV Fest. Now, these Honda side cases are pretty nice, and I love the idea of a side case on a bike like this. This is a bike that I think a lot of people will use as a commuter, and this just makes perfect sense to have big cases like this to throw your groceries in, not have to lug around a backpack or anything like that. Just makes it really easy to use the bike in a practical way. They're also pretty easy to take off as well. So instead of pulling this lever, you just pull the handle up and then the whole thing pulls off. You can carry it like a suitcase, and then yeah, you've freed up some weight on your bike and you can go on a little bit more of an aggressive ride. Only thing I'm kind of bummed about is I wish that it used the same key as the ignition. Kind of annoying that you need 2 keys. I wish the screen was a little nicer looking. It's a little basic. You know, in today's day and age, we're seeing so many bikes with TFTs and even just cooler looking LCD dashes, so wish they would upgrade that, make it a little bit nicer. I did not expect to like the CB500X as much as I did. You know, a budget adventure bike, there's a lot of budget components on this, especially the brakes, the suspension. But I think it's a really cool idea, having an affordable, attainable adventure bike that you can go have a blast on. And also I think this would just make an excellent commuter as well. It's so comfortable, so quiet, so practical, good fuel economy. So if you're gonna have one bike and you like to go explore the mountains but also ride to work, this is really appealing. As far as competition goes, there's not a ton out there that directly competes with this bike. Sure, there's lots of small adventure bikes, but closest competition to this one is probably the Versys 300 from Kawasaki. And that's got a much lower displacement engine and also is more affordable. So kind of two different bikes. So there you go, the 2021 Honda CB500X. I'm having a lot of fun with this bike already, and I'm going to continue doing that as we get it off-road more in the future. But for $7,000, this is a really appealing package. I could see this being an awesome commuter, and then, you know, something on the weekends you could take up into the mountains and really have a blast on. And it's just so lightweight, so nimble, turns in so easily. It's really fun to ride, easy to maneuver in and out of tight parking spaces in the city. And yeah, just a really good all-purpose bike that you can use across a variety of different riding disciplines. Drop any questions you have about this bike down in the comments below, because like I said, we're going to be making lots more videos with this CB500X here in the next month or two, so stay tuned for that. We'll do our best to answer any of your questions in upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to head on over to tflbike.com so you don't miss any news in the bike world, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next video.